Hi, my name is Emma Tobias, and I love Halloween. Is this the most aesthetically pleasing video I've ever made? Yes. Is it that aesthetically pleasing? No. In the past few years, I have had an awakening. Not in the Kate Chopin sense, but an awakening nonetheless. I realized that my favorite genre of book is small town romance. I love small towns, I love romance, and I love a little bit of smut. A little sprinkle of smut. So you have to understand that even further beyond a small town romance, I love a holiday small town romance. I love the fall, I love the winter holidays, I love those vibes. They're great. They're better than great. They're delicious. So what better way to showcase my love for small town holiday romances, which I am pushing that definition quite a bit in this video, than to talk about a few that I've read. Let's start somewhere normal. You like Outlander, yet are uncomfortable by the things everyone is uncomfortable or should be uncomfortable about with Outlander? Do you like Twilight, yet you have grown past the need to care about Twilight, / realize that Stephenie Meyers is a bad person? Do you like dark academia? Do you like hot, fake Jamie Dornan? Well, I got the thing for you. A Discovery of Witches. I read A Discovery of Witches in high school. I was in probability and statistics, and my teacher came over and said, "What are you reading?" I said, "A book called A Discovery of Witches." And she said, "Oh, what's that about?" And I said, "It's about a vampire and a witch professor, and they fall in love." And she said, "Oh, like Outlander?" And I said, "How is that like Outlander?" And then the bell rang, and I had to do probability and statistics. A Discovery of Witches is a trilogy. Very chunky trilogy about a woman named Diana. And Diana is a blonde lady who wears a lot of blue. She is smart, and she's in her 30s, which we love. She is a fellow or something at Oxford or something like Oxford, and she falls in love with a hot vampire because of circumstances involving a haunted book that has secrets about the creatures that inhabit the human world. This book is not small town, but is small in its idea. It's about a specific subset of people that don't actually exist. So I think that's pretty small, in my opinion. On top of that, it is spicy. There's a level of push and pull romance you see. Whisking away to the French countryside, going to Vermont. It has it all. Say for the Halloween factor, no, Halloween necessarily isn't mentioned in a huge way, but it's about witches and vampires and demons, and that is Halloweeny, supernatural, and yeah, it is sexy. So we love. A Discovery of Witches gets 4 pumpkins out of 5 jack-o'-lanterns. I don't know what that means, but I have decided that's my rating system. Next we have one of my all-time favorite books, Dance Upon the Air by Nora Roberts. Nora Roberts is a queen. This is the way she stands on the back of her books. Dance Upon the Air is a trilogy from the early 2000s, late 90s, something like that, about a young woman who runs away from an abusive ex-husband after faking her own death to a small island off the coast of Massachusetts, where she meets 2 other women who actually hate each other. They don't fall in love. I know. I wish they did. 2 women who hate each other, but happen to be witches, and the 3 are fated from a long destiny about saving the island or something about fighting dark evil, something like that. At the same time, she is living her small town life, working in one of the women's bookstores that has a cafe, and she's making baked goods and foods, and she falls in love, unfortunately, with the town sheriff. It is sweet. It is saucy without being really saucy. It's a lot of fade to black. This is more of a fade to black romance, but it's still saucy. The main male characters are not great in this series, except for the second book. He is the best character because he's basically Milo from Atlantis. But all in all, you feel a sense of coziness, like you're gonna curl up with a blanket and a hot beverage. You feel a practical magic essence, which is what I'm looking for in every book about witches. And you feel a sense of sisterhood and bonding. I have a theory that most romances pass the Bechdel test more often than literary fiction written by men. That's a hot take that I wanted to put into the void. I love this series. It is dated a lot. It's dated a lot. It's dated. It's 20 years old. But it has the right essence. Hallmark movie, cozy up essence. So many descriptions of food and townspeople and running into townspeople and they all know each other. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's 4.5 jack-o'-lanterns out of 5 pumpkins. So we have practical magic. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I felt like I had to include it. I feel like everybody knows what practical magic is about. I personally think that the movie is better than the book. I find this book to be kind of boring. It's short though, and it has a good vibe. I do think Rules of Magic, which is the first prequel, a new prequel by Alice Hoffman just came out, is better and more interesting, but I will say the cozy vibes are more aligned in Practical Magic because it's more Halloween-y than Rules of Magic. Watch the movie. I give this 2 jack-o'-lanterns out of 5 sparkly pumpkins. Next, we descend into books that I have read recently, partially for this video. I talk about Blood Brothers by Nora Roberts, another Nora Roberts book. I bought this book months ago. It was my first purchase during the COVID lockdown. And let me tell you, it was fantastic. It is about a town called Hollow something, Hollow City. What is Hollow City? Did I make that up? Owl City. I'm thinking of Owl City. Called the Hollow. Basically, it's a spooky town that was involved in the Salem witch trials. It's in Maryland. The fact it's in Maryland seems random to me, but whatever. There's probably some historical reasonings behind that. And every 7 years, some crazy demon stuff happens because these 3 young whippersnapper boys, when they turn 10, open to Hellmouth. So the first book follows a plucky young reporter who's coming in to Lois Lane style the situation. She's writing a book about supernatural things and happens to be an expert on it, so she wants to focus on the Hollow. She realizes that she's way more connected to this whole thing than she previously thought. And it becomes a whole cast of characters. There's 6 characters in total that are main characters. 3 dudes, 3 ladies, well, of course. It is fun. It's fast-paced. It's creepy without being really scary. I found it to be really cozy. I like the interactions between the women and the men were less good, but that's par for the course. All in all, I got a really good vibe. It was set in February, but it still felt Halloween-y. The series was in 2007-ish? What was that year? That year is a made-up year to me. Is Blood Brothers spicy? Not really, because it's fade to black, which is still spicy, but just, you don't kind of cross the finish line. That's what you have with Nora Roberts. You have a lot of fade to black. Attention though, there's a lot of bowling alley scenes in this book. Small town vibes, high. It's a very small town. The Hollow Pox, the Hollow City. The other thing that's important to note though is that this book talks a lot about dieting. The main character is having a lifestyle change. And while the main character never says dieting, she says lifestyle change, I do think that it feels very dated and bad to read. I just think it's important to note, if you're sensitive to that specifically, or that would trigger you, I would probably not pick this book up because there is so much talk about it, more so than I'm comfortable with. But other than that, I do think this book is just so cozy and cute and so much fun and creepy, and I bought the other 2 books. Because of the problem with the main character being so into her lifestyle change, I give it like 3.5 purple painted pumpkins out of 5 jack-o'-lanterns. Next is a book I read for a video entitled 7 Books in 7 Days. Oh. Soul of a Witch, Soul of the Witch. This is a book about a Halloween town kind of thing in Northern California. I prefer my Halloween books set in New England, but this is fine. Basically, it's about a girl who has to come home and take care of her father who has an illness, and her sisters live there, and she's a witch, and a bunch of people are witches in the town, and it's all hunky-dory. But lo and behold, her first love took over like a brewery from her father and makes the beers, makes the IPAs that the boys love to talk about. And she has things happening to her. And the guy is dealing with a custody battle. Yes, there are small town vibes and cute descriptions of like pumpkins and like pumpkin brews and witch things and like hayride kind of golf cart things. All in all, it's cozy enough. I got a good essence of it. I felt it was kind of cozy, but it was also boring. Boring. The custody battle part was the most interesting thing about this book. The book is also a fade to black romance. Didn't read that many non-fade to black romances. Let's get into the non-fade to black romances. Soul of the Witch, a witch, whatever. 1.5 to 2 half-dead pumpkins out of 5 pumpkins. We have Cottage of Pumpkin and Vine, or Cottage on Pumpkin and Vine. This is an anthology of 3 stories by 3 different authors about a little town called Moonbright, Maine, Ari Love, and it does Halloween right. Everybody's into it. Everybody's excited about it. There's a cottage. The lady who owns the cottage is sort of a witch kind of thing. She can see your future, like pick up vibes, and then like she's a matchmaker, and you are supposed to come to this cottage and you fall in love and find your soulmate. So each story follows a different couple. The first story is about a woman who is the party planner and the costume person of the town. This town can economically and financially have a costume store. Okay. And this guy who does like he's a moving truck guy. Weakest of the 3. But it was fun. I liked it. And it was spicy. The second couple is sort of when Harry met Sally situation. So you can imagine how that goes. Been best friends forever and then come to this town. And then the final is a second chance romance. Which I love second chance romances. All in all, this was super cute. There's another book that they wrote in the same town, same universe, Moonbright, Maine Universe, MMU, as I call it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was super fun and spicy and a good time. I would give it 4 tarot card pumpkins out of 5 pumpkins. Finally, I read Mating the Huntress by Talia Hibbert. I love Talia Hibbert. She's fantastic. She knows how to write a spicy romance. And I was like, I'm going to read this. It's a short little novella about a wannabe huntress, meaning everybody else in her family is a huntress except for her due to like a prophecy, and a werewolf. And you can imagine how that goes. This is really sweet, while also being very spicy. I really enjoyed it. I think Talia Hibbert is a fantastic writer. And this was not like full on Halloweeny because so much of it is like focused on the romance, so you don't get as much of an atmosphere, but it did feature a coffee shop. And I love any book that features a coffee shop heavily. So that gave it points in the atmosphere. All in all, I would say 4.5 werewolf pumpkins out of 5 huntress pumpkins. And they sound like Russian nesting dolls. Honorable mentions that I didn't feel like talking about fully in this video. Witches of Easton by Melissa De La Cruz. Wow, great show from the Lifetime Network that was only on 2 seasons. Completely ripped off. We should have had more. So fun, so feisty, so spicy, so short. Definitely give at least the first book a read. Love Spells from the End of the World. This is a little Kindle romance book Very Halloween Town. I never finished it, but I did enjoy what I read of it. Hate to love. If you're interested, most people are. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any recommendations for small town romances. I'm always here for them. Additionally, should I do this for Christmas? Additionally, I think I'm already gonna do it. Christmas, I got you. Winter holidays, I'm coming. I can start in November. This is all I have the bandwidth for, is to read these kinds of books. I hope you have a lovely day.